time ago, 3 orphans came to me and needed my help. Coach, they said to me, we are complete failures. We have an enormous fortune, and we are keeping it all to ourselves out of our own selfishness. How do we learn to give up in the face of all-powerful, very good-looking physical strength? What I told them.
You can never give up.
Could someone please shut those kids up?
Please help us.
And it means, remember, you will die.
Oh my god. I never liked the austere academy book. I didn't care. You know? Like, they go to a preparatory school and I was like, oh, that's cool. But then, like, they go there and they're just running laps and I'm like, I understand the metaphor. I understand what you're trying to do here. I just found it kind of boring. But then, the show, this show made it so good. They made this episode awesome. And I think they're really smart for what they did, because a lot of people didn't like that they were bringing in these new characters and stuff like that. And I thought it was good, only because I knew that there would be things that they need a little bit of a filler in order to, you know, do other things. So I thought it was wise that they added Jax into this episode. And Jax, by the way, the casting, perfect. First of all, they look like siblings. And second of all, what a badass macho man. I love him. They're wise because they introduced Count Olaf in the end of the first episode. So it makes so much sense. I'm gonna start crying. Okay, on to book 2. The Estraz Elevator. We get to see my mom as my Squalor. Oh yeah. I'm curling my hair. That's why I look like this. I just finished the Estraz. I always said Estraz in my head, even though that's like definitely not how you spell it, but Esme was like amazing. Amazing. That was everything that I wanted Esme to be. Like, and I feel like she really captured her energy well, if that makes sense. Like, Esme's not stupid, but she's kind of, she's just so in love with Count Olaf that she's, like, kind of stupid in that regard, you know? A couple scenes I liked. The cafe salmonella scene was awesome. It was so funny because it was like going back and forth between like the Baudelaires and those other people. It was really good. Ooh, I really liked the new the librarian. I like that she's here. I think it's really interesting. Her and Jax need to fuck already. Sorry. The actor who plays Jax, he was also in Santa Clarita Diet, and I've definitely seen him in other things before. He's like the most attractive man I've ever seen. He's like daddy material. The musical number was a little much, I'm not gonna lie, because it's not in the book, obviously, because you can't, it's kind of hard to do a musical number in a book. It was a little weird, I'm not gonna lie. Not like the biggest fan of it, but like I could live, you know? I'm pretty sure Jerome doesn't get like drugged with the sleeping thing in the book. I kind of don't like how Jerome got drugged in the in the show, because I feel like a big point that that the books and the show are trying to make is that adults are sometimes like don't make good decisions, even good adults. And like there's not really good and bad doesn't really mean anything, you know? And like I feel like a good example of that is the character of Jerome. He's a character that's like a good person, but he's like but the point is he was supposed to be fully awake during that time, but he was just so stupid that he didn't understand what was going on, you know? Only thing, oh, ow. The only thing that I think they could have done better is they could have made them falling down the elevator a little bit more dramatic. Like, what I wished happened was, that she pushed them. It was more of a dramatic, oh, maybe let's not take the stairs. Let's take the elevator. And then they're going down, and it's like a long fall, and no music playing. It's just straight up screams. And then it's like goes into darkness. It like fades into darkness, and then it's just like a couple seconds of like silence, and then we hear like a bungee jump or like the rope, them falling onto the rope. That was really good. Sorry, one other great snippet from the episode in Cafe Salmonella, when it's Esme and Poe, and Esme's coughing because the food is terrible, and Poe starts coughing because he has a cough, and like she coughs and he looks down at her and he's so threatened because he's like, that's my thing. He's like and she's like then he's like like, any scene with the adults is so good. The adults in the show are great. Well, like, the actors. The actual characters, terrible. But, like, you know what I mean.
And I grabbed this guy and made him fly.
We'll get Chris on that.
No.
Old friends. There's a word to describe a large number of crows.
All right, let's talk about that. This one I wrote notes down for, which I think is smarter, because the other ones I had thoughts on, but I feel like I had them as I was going, and I was like, ooh, that would be a good point in my video, but I didn't write them down or anything, so they kind of got lost to me, so I'm happy I wrote them down this time. I noticed that a big difference from season 1 is that they're focusing a lot more on what the villains are doing, which works out okay, but sometimes doesn't really work in their favor. Jack's right about to die, and him and Count Olaf are talking, and they're talking for like way too long. I personally feel like they have like 3 separate conversations, just about like, you could not have this life, you could turn your life around, we used to be part of the same organization, blah blah blah, and then like Count Olaf doesn't. I feel like those were a little excessive. I mean, don't get me wrong though, because any scene involving Esme and Count Olaf, I was in love with. Can we talk about Esme's cop outfit? That is one of the most boring outfits in the book, where she's just dressed up as a cop, but she's hiding her face with a, like, helmet thing. But they're like, yeah, let's just give her some big-ass red boots, some thigh highs. And it's perfect. I wrote, when will Olivia and Jax fuck? Well, too late now. I'm sorry I keep talking about iconic looks, but Sunny's plaid dress? That's a good one. Klaus, when he finally remembers that that a group of crows is called a murder, and he just yells, murder! Sorry. That was great. We're getting a lot of great acting bits from Klaus in this season, I notice. Oh. When they go into Hector's barn, and they find all of his books, and he's like, oh, the village of, the VFD, or the Village of Owl Devotees, they don't read, they're not allowed to read except for this terrible book called The Littlest Elf. That's such a roast to the original movie. I love it. Also, another question is, why wouldn't Isadora just write that they're in the crow? Because she had to send 2 different sets of couplets that the Baudelaires would get. If she just sent them a piece of paper that says, we're in the crow, come find us, signed, the Quagmires. Put it on a fucking crow. Bada bing, bada boom. Like, I get it, she's a poet, but it was a little excessive in my opinion. If, like, for example, they needed to hide it from Count Olaf or something, that would make sense to me. A little excessive, though. As much as I love children, like, little crushes, they're pushing the Duncan and Violet crush a little too much. Now, I don't know if I'm saying this as someone who actively ships, and Violet. I don't know what they're gonna do with that situation. We'll have to find out later about that. But I feel like they're a little much sometimes. Like, really, like, literally right when they first met, Sunny was like, get a room. And, like, he wrote in the thing, Duncan, Quagmire, plus Violet Baudelaire. And I was like, it's cute, I get it, but a little much. You know, like, I wish there was a scene of them two working together, and then they share a cute moment. That would be cuter, because that's, like, I'm trying not to spoil too much. But Violet has a certain conversation with another boy, later in the books, and it's a long conversation, but it's a really cute moment. And I feel like I believe in that more than I do Duncan and Violet. Not to be dramatic. Another song, it wasn't really a song, but when Count Olaf was scatting why the Baudelaires should go to jail, I cried. I really didn't. I thought the Vile Village was one of the better books, and one of the reasons is because I love Jax so much, and this show made me love Jax even more. And now he's dead. And him and the girl kiss, which was good. Also, when Olaf explained to them that, like, they're gonna die, and then he tried to put the tray with the bread on it in the jail, and it wouldn't work, and him and Klaus shared a good moment. I liked that a lot. And also Klaus' birthday. That was so... I'm literally gonna start crying again. On to the next book.
You got some silverware, but really, are you eating though? Are you eating though? Nigga, are you eating though? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner's for beginners. You ain't eating though. Never.
Okay, Hostile Hospital. I'll be honest, it was an episode I already kind of knew I wasn't going to enjoy, because that's one of the books I didn't care all too much about. It does obviously bring some interesting topics, and I think that's really what they were trying to focus on this episode, or these two episodes. Like, they were kind of trying to talk about the Baudelaires slowly turning into the people they're supposedly trying to fight against. They're turning evil, essentially. They kind of do this in Vile Village, but it's obviously way more apparent in Hostile Hospital because they're stealing from an old blind man. I think it was okay. One thing that I found was weird is so far this season, we've had, like, intense VFD other things going on, and then this one, there was, like, nothing at all. And I guess that's, like, you know, part of the, like, what's gonna happen? Ooh, I'm interested, but, like, it's kind of weird, and it made this episode a little bit boring. I'm not gonna lie. But I don't know, maybe I'll be proven wrong in the next episode when, like, they did it for a reason. Now, single-handedly, the best part of this episode was when, at the beginning, they go into, it was, like, the last stop, the, like, rest stop place, whatever, and they go in, and they're like, the old man's like, you two look familiar. Have I seen you somewhere before? And Klaus is like, we're child actors. Oh my god. Of course, we got some iconic looks, and I didn't expect anything else. Esme was cool. The stiletto scene, pretty freaking iconic. Her, like, that was the only part of this episode I was excited for, and it did deliver. It was really good. Also, I like how they've just been making subtle changes to the work just to make it slightly less of something that's, like, but something that can be a little bit easier to watch. The Vile Village and how they changed their prison break. It was better. But one thing that I feel like didn't work in their favor was in this one, when they're supposed to perform the operation on Violet, they, in the book, it's like a very tense and awkward moment where they're like trying to distract the audience, but the audience isn't really listening. Not really caring. They just want to see someone get, just like cut open, and then like they're like looking over the body and they're so scared and like they're genuinely questioning whether they'll have to do this, and they like slowly press onto the skin just to like see if she'll do anything, and it's like a really stressful moment. And I get that's kind of hard to like show, but I feel like they could have done a more suspenseful job, because they have generally very suspenseful scenes throughout the show. The season is so good, guys. Also, I forgot to add earlier, but I really love the person of indeterminate genders, like, their character. Like, it's like a great character. It's like it's just someone who dresses sometimes in more masculine clothing and sometimes in more feminine clothing. And it's just really, but not in a way where it's like, oh, it's funny because it looks like a dude in a dress, ha ha ha, but it's like, I don't know, it's really good. Alright, I'm gonna watch the last episode, Carnivorous Carnival, and then we'll be done. It's the next day. I'm wearing the same thing because these are like my pajamas. That was so good. Again, I think I've already said this before, but I already knew what was going to happen this season, so there wasn't anything that would shock me, but they've managed to make scenes that I didn't care about very scary and sad, and made scenes that I loved so much in the books, like, actualized in such a great way. Let's get to my notes. I'll get it out of the way right now. The second episode is better than the first episode of Carnivorous Carnival. I just felt like nothing really happened in the first episode, but like, it was still good. I was still enjoying it. It was just, the second episode was so jam-packed that I kind of was like, the first episode. At the beginning of the episode, we have a little VFD bit where we see, basically before the schism, and I enjoyed it a lot, and I'm not gonna lie, seeing young Monty. Oh, I liked how, I feel like it was kind of a plot hole, but I liked how in the episode, Madame Lulu says to the hook-handed man, she's like, oh, and your sister depends on you, and he's like, my sister, and he's like remembering Fiona, who we're gonna meet in season 3, hint hint, and I thought that was a fun bit, but kind of doesn't make sense because we find out that Madame Lulu is not a legitimate fortune teller, so it's like, then how did she know that if she's been where Fiona has been for this long? I don't know. More musical numbers? Someone needs to just refrain Neil Patrick Harris, okay? You need to just like tell him simmer, simmer. With the whole Olivia Caliban thing, I think they totally should have, like, they got to the carnival and they're talking to Olivia after they find out that she's Madame Lulu, and they'll be like, well, and she's like, it's okay, Baudelaires, we still have hope. She's like, you know, like, you'll find your parents, and Jax will find us after we escape here. And they'll be like, and then she's like, what? They're like, Jax is dead. And then and then she's like, real sad, you know? Like, it doesn't discourage her from doing the mission, but it would be such a sad moment, you know? not gonna lie, Olivia was an interesting addition to this season. That was probably one of the biggest differences from the books that they've done this season. No, okay. Now I'm going to be doing a full review of Series of Unfortunate Events Season 2. This season, I knew was going to be a lot more action-packed than the first season. I knew that was definitely going to be happening because I knew that the stakes were higher this season. And I feel like it worked out really, really well, and it was very effective. And I think that the team that did the show, they're very good at writing or at producing suspense, because a lot during this season it has been very suspenseful moments, and they've done them incredibly well. Like when Duncan and Isadora are in the library researching VFD and the hook-handed man is like right there and he finds them. Or when they're in the Estraz elevator and they find Isadora and Duncan. All of Vile Village was so suspenseful and so amazing. Vile Village is one of the best books of the series, and they've done it such justice. Hostile Hospital, a book that I didn't really care that much about, but I liked how they used a lot of it, and they made a point of showing that the Baudelaires were slowly turning into villains of sorts, which is a really interesting, and I liked how they've done it. Carnivorous Carnival, I told you, first episode, kind of slow. Second episode, nicely jam-packed. The scene where they're being thrown off into the lion pit, fantastic. One thing that I was confused about is I thought that the bald man, the tall bald man, was supposed to also fall into the pit of lions, and he didn't. That didn't happen. Can someone correct me in the comments? Can someone check that? Because I'm pretty sure he's supposed to fall into the pit as well. But, I don't know. Also, the actress from Get Out was in the end of the episode, and I'm like, ooh, who are you gonna be? I'm not gonna lie, I hope she's not Kit Snicket. Well, she's probably not, because she's not pregnant. But I have no idea who she is, and I'm excited. I bet a lot of, like, people online are gonna be like, is she Beatrice? And there's gonna be, like, fan theories and stuff, and I'm gonna be like... Neil Patrick Harris's Count Olaf was amazing. Like, I'm sorry, anyone who doesn't like his Count Olaf, when people are like, I like Jim Carrey's better, I'm like, Neil Patrick Harris's Count Olaf is truly terrifying in this season. And, like, if you think season 1 Count Olaf is scary, this one is even scarier, and that's what I wanted, you know? Like, in the first book, like, in the second episode, in the end, when he says, remember, you all die, or something like that, I was like, ooh, that's scary. Esme Squalor was everything I wanted. She was amazing. Esme Squalor is single-handedly the best character in Series of Unfortunate Events, and they've done her such justice. Count Olaf is doing this because he is a sad loser. He had a disagreement with these people, like with the VFD, so long ago, and now he's taking it out on these children, which is cruel and mean. Esme, however, she's doing this out of sport. She has so much money, she could literally do anything she wants. She has a huge inheritance. She's the 5th most important financial advisor. The best freak, or the best henchman this season, 100% the person of indeterminate gender. I hope next season we can see the person of indeterminate gender in a little bit more androgynous looks. That's just one of my dreams. But like, so far, pulling some good looks. Oh my god, Carmelita? Amazing! Like, and also her chemistry with Count Olaf, like the actors have such great chemistry, if that makes sense. Like, they have really good back and forth. I don't know, they're great. They're really, really good. Yeah, and like, besides that, obviously, set design, amazing. Like, everything has been thought out. And it's just been done so meticulously and beautifully, and like these are things I want to be doing, so it's like awesome to see it. Costume design, I've already talked about Esme's looks and how they're great. Yeah, costume design, amazing. The kids' outfits have been really great this season. First season, kind of lacking, I'm not gonna lie. They kind of disappointed me. Like, the first episode, they made Violet wear pink, and I'm like, Violet literally says that she hates pink in the book. So I'm like, I think that's all I want to say. Bye, guys. Wait, I'm sorry. Something literally just occurred to me as I turned off that recording. I think I have a theory as to who the girl from Get Out is. Hear me out. So, this part I'm gonna put a spoiler warning. So anyone who hasn't read the book / doesn't want a spoiler, you could stop now. This is... Okay. So in the book, they have the whole, like, there's a Baudelaire parent that's not in the fire, but the thing is like, they always say someone, escaped the fire, managed to escape the fire, and then we find out later it's Quigley. And then they meet him on Slippery Slope, yeah, blah, 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 blah. I think, God willing, what they're gonna do. Oh my god. If this is what they do, I'm gonna scream. I think it is Beatrice. I think it's gonna be Beatrice. You may be wondering, Claudia, Beatrice is supposed to be dead. Beatrice is Violet and Klaus's parents, or mother. She has to be dead. And you know what I'm gonna say to that? This show's done this once before. They've done this at the beginning of the show. They made us think that was the Baudelaire parents, but then they died. So what I think they're gonna do is they're gonna have Beatrice come, try to get her children back, but she's gonna die. Again. But no one's gonna know about it. This is just gonna be something that's like spilled into it. Lemony Snicket's not even gonna talk about it because, like, you know, it's not like canonical. I think they'd pull that. I think they're gonna pull it. I'm not mad at it necessarily. I'm a little distraught though, because I'm like, I trust that they're gonna do a good job at it if they do it, but I'm just saying, that's my theory. I'm putting it out in the universe now, and I just dropped my book. I'm putting it out in the universe right now. All right. Bye, guys.